Want to get serious about DIY? Then you're going to need a workbench, and I'm going to show you how you can build one. The first thing we need to do is pre-cut our legs. Now, a great height for a bench is 900 millimeters. Now, on my table, I've got a 50 millimeter thick top, so I've already pre-cut our table leg to 850. Now, I'm using 3x2 rails, which are going to be top and bottom. These are 75 by 50, and these are going to be rebaited in to our leg. So at the top, it's going to be flush, and I'm just going to mark around that and square across the top. That there will get rebaited out, and I'm just going to continue exactly the same down the other side. Now on the bottom, I'm coming up 100 millimeters to the bottom of my rail. So let's put a square mark across there, and using our rail thickness, now I've given myself about 1 millimeter clearance, so that fits in there nice and snug. Once again, we're going to go the thickness of our rail. So let's just square that down so it's clear of exactly what we're chopping out. Now we just need to return this rail all the way around our leg. To rebate the legs out, I'm just going to use the circular saw, and I'm just going to adjust the blade up so the blade is right on our rebate line. Okay, we've cut out all our fins. Next thing we need to do is take a nice sharp chisel, really important that, and then just going on our mark, let's just gently give ourselves a couple of millimeters down, and let's just repeat that the whole way around. Now all we do now is snap these out with our chisel. Now it's time to cut your rails to length and cut the ends on 45. Rightio, I've cut on my legs and I've rebaited them all out ready for our rails. Now, my 3x2 rail here, I've decided to make my bench 1.7 meters long, so I've cut a mitre on either end to 1.7 long point to long point. Now, these just slot straight in our rebates. Now, I'm just going to fix those using my screws. From the inside of my leg, I'm going to come in 22 millimeters. Right, square that down, and then I'm going to come up 15 millimeters and come down 15 millimeters. Time to pre-drill our holes. Now all we've got to do is just screw that in. Just repeat the process for all the other legs. Okay, I've got my two sides up. Now, I've just pre-cut all my ends. Now, I've decided to make mine 700 millimeters wide. So, our 3x2 here, long point to long point, 700 millimeters. That just sits in there nice and tidy like that. For our screw holes, I'm going to come in 22 millimeters from the end and just draw a line down there and just go to the center of our 3x2. What we're going to need next is some mid-rail supports. So I'm going to need one straight across the guts here and another one down the bottom in between our two rails. So let's just measure in between our two rails and chop it on your saw. So just pre-drill a 5mm hole and put your screws in. Now if you're working alone, it's quite handy to have a clamp, block of timber, that'll support your rail. Okay, I've laid all my bottom boards out. Now, what I need to decide now is the length of our two last boards. So I've got 170 millimeters left on there, and I know that my leg is 90 mils wide there, so I'm going to add 90 plus 170, that gives me 260. So I'm going to cut a board to 130, half the 260. That'll give me a nice even board on either side. Righto, I've cut my last two boards at 130, and I've chopped out using my handsaw, 90 by 90, that's the width of my leg. So we can just slip these in on either end. I've pre-drilled the holes 25 millimeters in from the end of the board and 35 millimeters in from the side of the board. Start at one end and work your way to the other. For my top of my workbench, I want that nice and solid, so I'm decided to use these 300 by 50. Now, my base is 1.7 meters long. I've decided to cut my top at 1.8. That's going to give me 50 millimeters overhang on both ends. Next thing I want to do is use one of these handy little sash clamps, just to ensure that we get our bench nice and tight, and gently do that up. And let's just make sure that we are 50 mils. Righto, she's looking tickety-boo. What I've got to do now is clamp these boards down to our rail and fix that up from underneath. I'm using 100 millimeter long Tech screws. For our middle board, I've come in 50 millimeters from each end. I'm going to throw those screws in. Now for our outer boards, I'm coming in 50 millimeters also, but because I can't get another screw close to that leg, I'm going to come around the outside here and put one more screw on each side there. Make sure you get 4 evenly spaced screws along the outside rails and 2 in the middle support rail. So there we have it, a nice solid workbench, easy as.